All for the Empire, to eliminate any enemies who might endanger the Emperor and his subjects. That is the sole reason the Royal Guard exists. That is all. A bullet is fired, then another bullet pierces it. The one who fired the first bullet gets a hole in his skull. The person in the full-body tech suit ends the performance. Applause. The individual, like a robot, turns and bows gracefully before the Empire's flag. Technology in Earth's future has advanced by leaps and bounds, but that does not mean humanity will be saved. Resource depletion has led to endless wars, and with each passing day, Earth gradually becomes a dead land. Humans begin to build colonies on other planets, but ultimately, they were suddenly attacked by an unknown alien civilization, and Earth was destroyed. Even so, some people survived and continued to drift through space, and at the end of their long journey, they discovered a planet with an environment similar to Earth. Humanity settled on that planet and named it Nuvit, meaning new home, and they broadcast the coordinates of this planet throughout the universe. So the remnants of humanity who had been scattered everywhere began to flock to Nuvit and rebuild civilization together. The Biolida Federation, home to many different alien races with humanity as the main component. The Accretion Empire, known for its powerful mechanical army. The Korra Alliance, possessing priests with the ability to manipulate force using mental power. However, even novice resources are limited, and so once again, a war for resource monopoly erupts. Accretion Empire at the Accretion Mechanization Lab, a middle-aged soldier says to the young man beside him, "You are next. They will compare you." Accretion, Royal Guard Captain Hallett, says, "Today is your chance to show yourselves before His Majesty. So this is a very important day for the cadets. Do not forget that." Accretion, Royal Guard Trainee, Luca replies, "I think it is a little early to say I am unlucky." Howard advises Luca, "Right, if you have already raised your spirits, then do your best." Luca replies, "I will keep that in mind." Wearing the black tech gear, Luca thought, "At least I should be able to dodge bullets. That is an essential skill to become a Royal Guard. I am a Royal Guard trainee. I have completed every simulated dangerous situation in virtual space and enhanced my nervous system to improve my spatial awareness. I just have to deal with 5 death row inmates using cheap mechanical technology. Not too difficult. Draw the sword at your hip. Those simulated criminals brandishing firearms are rushing forward. Plant your feet. Use that as a springboard. 10 seconds is enough. A slash across the neck of the leader. That guy's head flew off before he could even react. The rest of them just stared in disbelief. The others surrounded Luca, pointing their guns at him. But I have to show my skills. I have to impress the Emperor. Can I do what that guy just did? I have never tried it before, but now's my only chance. Hostilized, the clicks of gun triggers. It all overwhelms Luca's senses. If I push my senses to the limit, the gun muzzle spat sparks. The bullet left the barrel, but something deflected its path. Luca, wielding a single sword, used it to deflect a series of bullets. Harat was extremely pleased with this performance, and surely so was the Empire, ending with not a single bullet able to touch Luca, while at his feet lay the criminals he had beautifully slain. I did it. I have overcome my limits. The applause is like proof that my efforts have been recognized, and this will increase my value. Seeing Luca, Halat said, I did not expect you to use homing bullets. That skill is not taught in your curriculum yet, is it? When Lucas said, I just imitated someone else, Halat said, he is from a prestigious family, so he learned it early on. It is different from an orphan like you, but I like you. I will give you a special gift. Halat reached out and stabbed Luca directly in one eye, and gouged it out alive before the horrified eyes of all the students. Halat was even more pleased, not even blinking impressive. Looks like you have been taking your pain tolerance training seriously. You are the kind of student I like. Luca replied calmly. I'm glad to hear that I was going to be removed sooner or later anyway. But now that it is broken, I would like a new eye with a ballistic trajectory prediction system. That I was going to be removed sooner or later anyway. But now that it is broken, I would like a new eye with a ballistic trajectory prediction system. A friendly young man came to greet me. I am Ayali, number 12. I came to talk to you, Luca, number 32. Oh, sorry. Did I come a bad time? It is not like you're leaving someone else out in the cold, Lucas said. Come in. Isle sat down and immediately complimented him. You were really excellent just now. Honestly, I was very impressed. Lucas said coldly, if you came here to hear praise, then I am sorry, rich boy. Lucas secretly assessed Ile. He exuded an aura that made it obvious he was a descendant of the prestigious Katika noble family. Logically, I have no reason to act this way towards the son of a noble family. Maybe it is envy or jealousy, but let us just say, I am tired. Ile handed Luca a blue pill. I brought this for you. It will help relax your nervous system and help you rest more effectively. At first, Luca said, I do not need it, but Ile persuaded him with your exhaustion. It will affect tomorrow's training. You know as well as I do that you can't always rely on willpower alone. It made sense and there was no reason to refuse this benefit. Luca swallowed the pill. Luca felt the effects of the medicine immediately and exclaimed, "It is definitely different from the cheap stuff sold on the street." Perhaps out of respect for the pill, Luca complimented Ale. "You were really good too." Ale replied, "I am just imitating you. My combat, I makes calculating bullet trajectories very easy." Ale touched his prosthetic eye. "My combat, I makes calculating bullet trajectories very easy, but the fact that you can do it with normal senses is what is truly admirable. Even a captain seems to care about you a lot, probably because you are different. That is probably why he is willing to dip into his own pocket to replace your eye." Lucas said matter-of-factly, "I am just following the curriculum as if my life depends on it. Because nobles are superior to commoners, I do not have any other choice. Someone from a lower class like me can't afford to miss the opportunity to be chosen." Ailey was silent for a few seconds. "So you think nobles are superior? You know, there are people who passed the test but were eliminated afterwards, right? I bet they paid to fake the results." Lucas seemed a little surprised. "Is it possible to fake the results?" I do not have any proof, but that is my gut feeling." "I do not have any proof, but that is my gut feeling. You do not have anyone backing you, but you know how to adapt. People like you never fail the advanced training course because you can't bribe anyone. So it's clear that you've gotten this far solely on your own ability." Luca thought to himself, "I did not expect to hear a noble admit that nobles can be incompetent. I have never even considered that possibility. What is this guy trying to say to me?" Ailey reached out to Luca and said, "I sincerely believe that people like you deserve to succeed. I support you, but listen to my words and take back your hand." Luca is a bit silent. "Okay, you still decided to shake hands with that noble young man. After all, success is always my goal, Ailey. All of this is for the Empire." Hearing this, Ailey's eyes are filled with sadness. This is the story of a boy raised in the brutal Akatisa Empire as a weapon of war. Planet Naved, an Earth-like planet. Naved is divided into 3 factions, the Biolato Federation, the Akatisa Empire, and the Korra Alliance. 2 teenagers are standing in the school. Luca looks at the mannequin in front of him. He raises his gun, getting into a shooting stance. Using the support of his new eye, he tries firing a whole magazine. He controls the mannequin to come closer to see the results. The results are very good. All the shots hit the mannequin's head fatally, all headshots, and from that distance, it is no coincidence he got the highest score. Ailey comes over exclaiming all headshots, and from that distance, it is no coincidence, you got the highest score. Have you gotten used to the eye implanted on your right? Close combat weapons are your specialty, and yet you're also good with guns is not fair at all. Lucas says, as a royal guard, I have to be good at all kinds of weapons. Besides, I did not want to hear that from a guy who came in second, but still managed to put an entire magazine into one spot. I chuckled and said, shooting is my specialty. Lucas said, you should be competing with me for first place, but if you keep that nonchalant attitude, I will leave you in the dust. I casually said, I would genuinely be happy if you did. Like I said, I am rooting for you. This empire needs more people like you. These days, people no longer appreciate true ability and talent. Status and money are all they need to hide their incompetence. But if there were more truly talented outliers like you, then maybe people would gradually realize what true ability is. Luca was not happy to hear this. On the contrary, he said sternly, what you just said sounds like you were insulting the empire system. If I report those words to my superiors, even your Kati Aika noble status won't help you. I just smirked knowingly. If you were really going to report me, you would not have said that. I know you are a good person, but thanks for worrying about me anyway. Luca, grumpy, grumbling Luca. What a pain. Second year of training, third quarter. Luca and Eyelid will be platoon leaders for this training session. If anyone has any objections, speak now. Otherwise, I will continue the briefing. Across the ravine is an illegal Korra faction outpost built on our territory. This training will test your actual combat capabilities. Take no prisoners, kill them all. Touchdown. The group of young soldiers looked serious. Ailey muttered, our first real battle. Luca, hearing this, seemed provoked. What? Are you scared? We have killed people in training before. Ailey then explained, but this is the first time we are facing another faction. After all, Bellado and Korra, they both originated from the same human civilization as Akrisha. Do not let those silly emotions make you lose your guard, Luca reminded him. You know those high-ranking royal guards are not here to protect us, right? The fully armored machine troops. They are here just to observe and eliminate anyone captured as a prisoner. I agree that the royal guards do not need weaklings who can't take care of themselves. The other factions are just moths gnawing at novice. Do not forget what we have learned. They are all liars and exploiters of the empire. Isle's mechanical eyes lit up, showing he was ready for action. That is what we were taught. This once peaceful new place has been engulfed in flames. The mother and child from before are now 2 cold corpses lying on the ground. Warning lights and sirens wail. The teenage soldiers just keep shooting and massacring unarmed individuals, and Luca has to wonder, these Korra do not even have decent weapons. I will finish this training quickly. Then you see a small child trembling, huddled up. The child is sobbing, calling for their mother. This is truly Luca's first real challenge, and he is just a kid. He is frozen with fear, an unarmed civilian. It would be so much easier if he had a gun. The more Luca looks at the innocent child's pitiful face, the more he hesitates. He curses under his breath. Damn it. But he remembers Commander Hallett's instruction to kill them all. Luca convinces himself, do not hesitate. He is just a parasite, sucking up resources. A sword thrust pierces through the concrete. The blade finally can't bring itself to strike the innocent. Here, Luca chose his conscience. He feigned death being small with a baby. It was the only way to survive. You know you're taking a big risk. I should not be doing this. If the higher-ups find out, I am dead. It is not too late to go back and finish it. A gunshot rings out. Luca is startled and looks up seeing who fired the shot. I shakes his head signaling no. Luca breaks out in a cold sweat. How long has he been standing there? Did he see everything? Stay calm. He won't report me for hesitating, but if other trainees had seen, I need to thank him. I was just thinking of repaying him when Ailui was attacked. Luca worriedly called out Ailui's name. An unknown person stood not far from Luca. This man yelled, "You damn bastard of Korza." Luca turned to face the man. Was that explosion caused by him? What kind of weapon causes an explosion could it be? Ailey, unharmed, lunged to strike the man. Then a blinding light flashed before Aileen's eyes. Eileen was shot, falling to the ground. Luca was now sure, a foe's user. There's a foe's user here. The extremely angry man said, this is not a military outpost. It is just a settlement. The people you killed. They were just civilians trying to survive. But none of the young soldiers listened to the words of the man they considered a threat. Luca was just wondering, did the captain know he would appear if he had said something? Ailey would not have. I'll let my guard down, Luca. I am sorry. Luca just sighed and said, let me handle this. Try to endure. My hesitation put others in danger. I have learned many different tactics to deal with FOSS users. No matter what, I have to fix this, thinking that Luca told his comrades, leave this one to me. Everyone split up and control the outpost. After hearing that, they all split up to work. Where do you think you're going? The man shouted. Where do you think you're going? Just as I thought. He is stalling for his accomplices to retreat. Seeing the man's hurried actions, Luca realized, just as I thought, he is stalling for his accomplices to retreat. Fate needs to move his body before chanting. This guy is using hand gestures. If I can catch the small vibrations in the air, I can predict the location of the explosion, and Luca's thoughts are put into action very effectively. The man shows signs that his body is being overloaded. Luca thought, I want to drag this out to exhaust him, but if I keep moving at high speed, my body will collapse first. I have to strike while I still have enough strength to maintain maximum speed. Push yourself faster. Luca, sword in hand, closes in on the enemy. The older man is sweating profusely. Unable to dodge, the man takes the blade through his body just as Luca thinks he has won. The man's hand glows and presses against Luca's face. The man seems to have used his body to trap Luca in his attack range. At this close range, Luca has no chance and thinks I am done for. Then the man opposing him, his voice trembling, exclaimed impossible. You are just a kid. Luca took advantage of his opponent's hesitation. With force, he slashed a long line, finishing the man off. Looking at the long red gash on the ground and the man's motionless body, Luca was finally able to catch his breath a little. He fully realized that if he had been more decisive, he would have been dead. But the chorus are fanatical and show no mercy to anyone who disagrees. So why did he hesitate? Move and do not let emotions control you in battle. It is all for the Empire, to eliminate any enemy who dares threaten the Emperor and his people. That is the sole purpose of the Imperial Guard. Even if I hear the screams and pleas for mercy from unarmed people, that will not be a reason for leniency. Recovery room of the Akedith Sanctuary. Luca, how did you feel being so close to death? Luca assured, mind your own business, Ailey. Do not forget you almost died too. Ailey laughed awkwardly. Ailey optimistically said, this time they replaced some of my parts with new ones. What about you? Luca replied. My back was completely shattered, so they replaced my spine with titanium and added a layer of artificial skin. I guess in a few decades, my whole body will be mechanical, so replacing a few parts now is not a big deal, right? Ali hesitated for a moment, then voiced his doubts. The captain definitely knew there was a mole among them, right? And the reason he did not say anything was to test us, Luca acknowledged. Plus, with no high-ranking guards intervening, they probably thought we could handle it. Anyway, no one died. Ale kept questioning, is not it strange? Both I and the trainee who got hit directly by the F.T. survived. Calling it luck is a stretch. That F.O.T. user must not have intended to kill us from the start. Luca really had no argument to counter this. He remembered the man from Korra shedding tears of sympathy, realizing Luca was just a young boy, too young to have blood on his hands. Luca felt extremely uncomfortable just thinking about it, But I was a warrior's soldier. If he spared me just because I was young, then he was weak. That foolish mercy will cause more core people to die in the future. I hope he will gnash his teeth in regret in hell, as he watches me kill his comrades. Suddenly, Ale asked, Luca, why did you spare that Korra kid? Can you tell me the reason? Luca turns to Ale complaining, you talk too much. They should have given you a mouth instead of a hand. I made a mistake, but it won't happen again. You have completed year 2 of the Royal Guards for year training program. Set a good example for the new recruits. Especially Luca and Ale, our 2 best students. You 2 might even become centurions in the future. Dedicate yourselves to the Emperor and his people. They both reply in unison clearly, yes sir. Luca thinks to himself, a centurion, the structure of the Royal Guard is simple and streamlined. 1,000 members divided into 10 centurions, and the highest commander is the captain. This captain, also known as the Kiliast, is also the direct commander of the first centurion. The Kiliast finishes speaking and leaves. Continue training. Luca silently clenches his wrist. And for students like me, once our bodies are fully mechanized, we will be assigned to the Luca smirked thinking, if I climb to the top of that unit, become the 10th centurion, then my future is practically guaranteed. The 2 of them face off on the platform. Ale clenches his fist. Luca blocks and dodges the punch. They exchange a series of moves neither giving an inch. Luca secretly assesses. Ale is clearly stronger after getting his new upgraded arm, but Luca uses his legs, kicks, and knees Ale. Ale suddenly lost his balance. Luca seized the opportunity of Isla's imbalance and attacked. Isle could only watch helplessly as Luca's fist was about to hit his face. Luca knew his limits and stopped just in time laughing and saying, Luca 124, Ali 0. No matter where you are, the clear starry night sky is always so beautiful and romantic. The 2 teenagers sat gazing at the stars and confiding in each other. Ale said, I thought I would win this time. Luca pointed out, then what is the point of training so hard if you can just get stronger by replacing parts? Ale commented, it seems you have been much more focused since the instructor's speech. The talk about becoming a centurion seems to have had a big impact. Luca frankly admitted, of course. Anyone with a background as a royal guard is considered elite wherever they go. Ale advised, background does not matter as much anymore. You should relax a little too. Luca, let me remind you, unlike you, I have no home to return to. If I do not get promoted, I can only fall. You have talent, Ale, but you do not seem to take this seriously at all. Why did you join the Royal Guard? Ale asked. Do I look like that? Ale shared, I once wanted to be a scholar, an archaeologist researching the ancient Ekan civilization. Luca casually said, if that is what you want, then do it. Ale said, the Empire forbids its people from independently researching Akan. Not to mention, my family has been generals for generations. They would never allow me to do anything other than be a soldier. Luca stated, so you are sad because you can't pursue the career you want. Complaining is useless. In the slums, there are people who do not even know if they will live to see tomorrow. They're just happy to have something to put in their stomachs. Eloy said, I knew you would say that. I am to share a little secret because you are my friend, Luca. Luca always threatens. Others might see what you said as criticism of the Empire. If I report to my superiors, you are done for. Ale confidently said, but you won't. Just like I won't tell your secret. Luca justified. I hesitated because it was a commoner. I was going to go back and kill that baby if you had not shown up. My loyalty belongs to the Empire and the Emperor who recognized my talent. Anyone who is an enemy of the Empire is my enemy. That includes you, Ile. But Ile just smiled faintly. Ile jumped off the steel wall and said, liar. If you truly serve the Empire and were not just loyal, you would have killed me on the spot. Ali also advised, do not blame yourself too much, Luca. Luca looked at Alice back and muttered, idiot, you will die like that, you fool. Namba, a real combat reconnaissance mission, an unexplored neutral zone. This is the Akan ruins. It is incredible that after hundreds of millions of years, these structures still have traces of energy. Ile's eyes are sparkling. Do not you think it is amazing? Luca, even before humans existed, there were civilizations traveling the universe. Luca did not seem to want to answer, thinking that guy needs to learn his place. Then Luca spoke up. Do not get distracted. This reconnaissance mission is part of our training. If we encounter the enemy here, a battle will break out immediately. Ale kept touching the ruins with endless fascination. Whatever. If the enemy is too strong, the high-level guards will jump in and take care of it. Luca pursed his lips, suppressing his anger. Oh, for God's sake. A third person spoke up. The present exists because of the past, and from records, we can predict the future. Royal Guard Academy student, Klaus Motes. Well, if you think about it, it is not strange that some people are interested in history. Luca remembers Klaus, the son of a distinguished family, though not as much as the Katica family. This clause says, Luca, can I ask you something? I like you. Are you seeing anyone? Luca is startled and wary. Come any closer, and I will consider you an enemy. Klaus says, do not be so tense. If you do not have a girlfriend, I just want to introduce you to my sister. Luca says, confused, but I am an orphan. Klaus is very open-minded, saying, orphan or noble, you will be my superior later anyway. Think about it. She is very cute. Ali comes over tease Luca. Oh my, someone's admired. Luca says gruffly, shut up. Lucy's mechanical eye signals. Not just you, but Ale Isai too. Luca directs, life signs detected. Team Ale, provide rear support, claws, and I will attack straight ahead. Luca glanced back. Something's ahead. And Luca saw a floating transparent cube, and standing near was a person. The person was wearing full-body armor, head tilted back, looking at the cube. When Luca realized what this guy was, he cursed under his breath. Damn it. It's a Korra Knight. The Korra Knight has detected someone nearby. Luca and the Knight were both startled. Knight Korra unleashes a spear. Luca breaks out in a cold sweat, shouting and running. Luca's words are directed towards Klaus, but it is too late. A light flashes. Klaus does not have time to react and is struck. Luca can't believe that in the blink of an eye, a comrade has fallen. This is a sign of the horror, a one-sided battle that Luca's group cannot win. After killing Claw, the spear pierces into the ruins of Aiken. Then, before Luca's very eyes, Ser Korra reached out with supernatural power and summoned his spear. Luca looked down at the mutilated corpse of his comrade, still twitching. Only moments ago, Claude was alive, introducing his sister to him. Now he was dead in the blink of an eye. In a flash, the spear glinted. The next moment, Claude's upper body was gone. Luca muttered, work you stupid machine eye. But Lucas, I kept malfunctioning. I have to predict the trajectory of that spear at all costs. In a situation where neither pure senses nor technology give Luca any chance of survival, a surprise shot is fired. The Knight Korra's armor creates a bulletproof screen. Eiley and 2 teammates are here to support you. Luca, wake up. Do not just stand there. We have to stall for time. With the appearance of his friend, Eiley, Luca seems to regain his composure. That is right. We can't escape that paladin by running. There's only one way to survive. We have to stand our ground here until the royal guards arrive. If we survive another 10 seconds, then the guards who are watching will appear. No sooner said than done. Luca draws his sword. His goal is to stand firm against someone much stronger than him for as long as possible. Knight Korra raises her spear again, seeing the spearhead right in front of him. It won't take even a second. Luca understands. Easier said than done. Even if he manages to deflect the spear in time, it still destroys Luca's head protection. He flicks his hand. The wound reverses. Luca can't react in time to turn and block the wound or dodge it. In this brief moment, death is closer to him than ever. Am I going to die? I can't. I have endured this monster for so long. His head conjures Halet's stern, demon-like image. Student, you look no different than a pig waiting to be slaughtered. Running like that will just get you shot in the back. If the enemy swings a sword, you swing back. There's no place for the weak in the royal guard. Halat's words stimulated Lucas' extreme survival instincts. I have to act. Before the spear strikes, Luca did something he thought impossible just seconds ago, but that is not his only enemy. The spear emits energy, exploding and causing chain damage. A piece of his sword spins in the air, then slams into the ground. Thanks to his talent and a little bit of luck, Luca survived that blow, but the damage is unavoidable. It is over. I lost my hand, but at least I stopped the spear. The next attack is coming. This time, the knight does not use a spear, but draws a sword and slashes. Luca once again shows great reflexes, dodging, only to lose a hand that was already useless. But it seems Luca dodged successfully, because the target of that slash was not him, but the 3 leaves behind him. Luca shouts a name. Eiley. He now realizes he was not the target with a foothold. The knight with the sword flies towards Luca, giving him no time to think. Luca grits his teeth, pushing himself beyond his limits. He bets everything he has to fight the powerful enemy before him. His and everyone else's efforts are not in vain. Not far from there, someone has started their leg engine launching like a rocket heading straight where they need to be. Royal Guard Akawetsa rushes like the wind through the trees to take a rookie who is struggling against the Coronite when the Royal Guard is already so close. This person reaches out and grabs the Coronite's head. To Luca's astonishment, the guard forces the White Knight's head into the ground. The guard's armor engine rumbles. The Coronite's head is pressed down hard as if about to be crushed. On the side of the guard's armor, it opens. The guard pulls out a gun and points it at the knight's chest. In a firing stance, the guard repeatedly shoots Knight Korra at point-blank range. The royal guard then raises his fist. He slams the knight and his punch into the rubble. From a distance, Luca watches the rubble shake. He pants his eyes wide at the fight that happened in the blink of an eye. The royal guard materializes in the dissipating smoke, seeing that his man is the one standing firm. Luca felt he could finally release the scream he had been holding back for what felt like an endless 10 seconds. I am alive, but it is too early for the Blackcoats to celebrate. The guard turns around and sees Knight Korra standing there ready for round 2. Facing the royal guard, Knight Korra is at a disadvantage. The knight has to use his sword to help himself up, small pieces of his helmet falling everywhere. Something is revealed from behind the royal guard. The guard pulls it out. It is an axe-like weapon. Luca watches 2 military symbols of the 2 confronting factions. A member of the royal guard is using the Empire's ultimate weapon, the Lie Giant armor. Facing a Korrat paladin controlling Thought power, both sides charge into a decisive battle. Luca wonders who will be stronger. Both sides are determined. Only one of them will stand until the end. The battle between 2 individuals shakes an entire forest. The sound of engines, the sound of weapons clashing. They are both clashing at incredible speeds, too fast for the eye to follow. Each impact with the ground sends out a shockwave. From the air to the ground, they're evenly matched. Luca witnesses this life or death battle. His eyes are opened. Their swords move so fast I can't keep up. Is this the level of combat of the Royal Guard? Luca silently pleads, please let the Royal Guard win. The guard's axe revs up, ending with both weapons breaking. The guard quickly grabs his opponent's head the moment he loses his weapon. Rev up the engine. Just unleash the engine's power, putting pressure on the opponent's head. The Royal Guard grabs his head, blocking his vision. Sir Korra controls the hand using that neglected spear. Well, luck. Luca is standing right next to that spear. At that moment, a thought flashed through Luca's mind. I have faced the speed and power of that spear, but the Royal Guard does not even know it exists. It is almost impossible for him to react to it in time. Damn it. If the Royal Guard dies, I am done for. I have to do something. Get your foot out. The spear is coming out of the ground. It is going to cut off Luca's leg. Luca can only pray now, please. Slide away. When the Royal Guard sees the light, it only grazes the back of his neck. Knight Korra grabs the protrusion on the guard's helmet, aiming to fix his head, not giving the guard a chance to dodge her Thought energy blast. Before the light from the photon energy bomb counts down, the bodyguard raises his fist. With all his might, he delivers a decisive blow to the head of the Korrat knight. It sounds like a bomb explodes. Luca lies there panting, watching the rubble fly. What just happened? Who survived? If that Korra paladin wins, I am done for. Please, Black Step Armor, answer Luca's call. Come forth. Well done, trainee. Thanks to you, I was able to take down that knight. Are you wounded in the stomach? Luca sighed and replied, I must have been hurt while dodging those lance thrusts. The Royal Guard reached out, offering, I can carry you. Let's go back. Suddenly, Lucas saw something that horrified him. Lee Giant, a complete set of machine armor bestowed upon the Royal Guard members by the Chief Engineer. By eliminating all weak and redundant mechanisms for combat, this is a weapon created to turn the wearer into the strongest warrior on the battlefield. Being awarded the symbolic armor of the Royal Guard, Lee Giant is every trainee's dream. But reflected in Luca's eyes was an empty head, yet the Royal Guard acted as if nothing had happened. Luca could not help but ask how. How are you still alive after your head was blown off? Are you a human or a machine? The Royal Guard said in a bewildered tone, my head. He reached for where his head used to be, now empty. Unable to accept it, blown off. The Royal Guard screamed a long panic scream, then he felt his knees standing limp, motionless before Luca. Luca's worldview was somewhat shattered, also unable to accept it. The thing I have always wanted to be, all this time, is this monster. It is so cold. My body is shaking uncontrollably. Will I survive until reinforcements arrive? I never thought the last thing I would see before I die would be. Just then a familiar voice called out, are you still alive, Luca? Ale only lost an arm. He is much better off than Luca. Luca felt like he was dreaming, seeking confirmation. Ali, is that really you, Ali? Replied, yeah, I am still alive. I almost died. Luca asked, what about the others? Ali replied wearily, they're all dead. It is just you and me left. Sitting down next to his friend, Ali asked, is your wound deep? Lucas said pessimistically, yeah, I probably won't last much longer. Luca asked Ali, what are you going to do now? Luca hinted to his friend saying, look, straight ahead. The life you want is over there. Ali knew, but still said, is not that aimed at Korra and Belatosa? Luca said, the thing you're looking for is not in this empire. Lucas said, go. I am fine. Reinforcements will be here soon. If they see us, we will both be taken back to the Empire. Go quickly, Eily. You have to go now. Ale was silent. Then he tiptoed and stood up. Luca tilted his head, watching his friend walk away step by step. Luca thought with your skills and background, you could easily succeed. Any citizen of the Empire would dream of. I really can't understand you. Ailey, Luca recalled the day they looked at the stars together, confiding in each other. Back then, Luca was always observing Ailey. Even though I did not understand this noble friend of mine, one thing Luca was sure of was that when he told me about his dream, his eyes sparkled. So I hope you get the life you have always wanted. I mean it. But then, the person I thought had left came back to get a cloth to stop Luca's bleeding. Luca looked and asked, "What are you doing?" Ailey even had the nerve to joke, "The way you were talking. I thought you were really about to die. But if you died like this, I would never forgive myself." Luca listened, sighing. It was not clear whether it was annoyance or relief. Luca, as if complaining, blurted out, "Really, you're kidding me. Sitting and reading a book about infiltrating a spaceship. Luca, you are frowning. What are you thinking about?" Ale comes up from behind and asks, choosing a new arm. "Then I suggest this one, the EP-24 Ruiz model. It is easy to use, and will help you get back to your mission quickly. And the specs are definitely better than your old arm." Luca puts the book down and says, "Do not just suddenly appear like that." Ale scratches his head. "Did I startle you?" "Sorry. As soon as I safely returned to the Empire and recovered, I was immediately summoned to investigate everywhere. The tragic event involving a royal guard and several trainees that day was named the Paladin Court Encounter. I thought I would be questioned about what happened, but surprisingly, they did not ask about it." Ailey says, "Did you hear? They say they found an artifact in the ruins where we fought. Now everyone's arguing about who is the rightful owner," Luca thought. "So he was after that rotating cube. Has anyone retrieved it yet?" he asked. Ailey replied, "I heard they are assembling a team of experts to handle it. If the Korra Coalition refuses to return the relics and artifacts to us, we might face a major battle. And if that leads to an all-out war with Korra, that would be good news for the Biolita Federation." Ailey bowed his head and said, "We have always tried to keep conflicts localized to limit losses." But Luca interrupted, "I do not care about politics. I just fight as ordered. That is the Royal Guard's duty." Royal Guard. Mentioning that name reminded Luca of the image of the guard, with his head blown off. When I reported that I spoke to that Royal Guard, even after his head was blown off, the captain explained it as follows: "Hallucinations are rising from residual signals." But was it really residual signals, like he said? No. He responded to what I said, even though he was clearly dead then. It could not just be a hallucination. Those questions remain unanswered, but I am not stupid enough to dig into secrets that those above do not want revealed. I am not that stupid. In the recruit training area, there's a very luxurious place, completely out of place compared to its surroundings. A reception room, a space for friends and family to visit recruits. Growing up in an orphanage, I never thought I would have a reason to come here. So this visitor really surprised me. Lillian Ramos, the sister of the recently deceased Claw. What's she doing here? Is she gonna blame me because I was responsible when her brother died? Lillian, sensing what Luca was thinking, said, "I hope you do not think I am here to blame you for my brother's death. Ever since my brother decided to join the Royal Guard, my family has always been prepared for this possibility." Holding a hot cup of tea, she said, "I came here today just because I wanted to meet you, Luca. Claw mentioned you a lot. He said you were an excellent comrade, and he even asked me if I want to get to know you." Luca then said, "Then he must have told you about my circumstances." Lillian calmly assured him, "Yes, and I think that makes things easier. We do not need to beat around the bush or stand on ceremony." Luca expressed his feelings. "You're talking as if. You want to date me?" Lillian asked. "Are not you interested?" Luca replied, "I do not know much about you, Lillian." She then suggested, "Then why don't you try to get to know me?" He questioned, "But why me?" She answered, "Is not the fact that this is what Claw wanted enough? I think this is a pretty good offer for you. Everyone will be jealous of you." Luca thought, "Yes, why would I refuse? A lowly son like me would not get a better chance than to be involved with a girl from a prestigious family. I have come this far by always thinking I would do anything to change my life. If I could be lucky enough to marry someone from a noble family and change my future, what could be better? And this opportunity just fell into my lap. That is why I am even more hesitant." So Luca decided to refuse this seemingly lucrative offer. He stood up and said goodbye. "I recently thought Ailey was foolish for being born a luxury and wanted to leave the Empire, but now I am acting no different, betting everything on a vague hunch. Lillian is of noble birth. She might be angry about my choice. I just hope things do not end badly." But Lillian reached out. She grabbed Luca as he was leaving. "Maybe I was a little too hasty." "Luca," Lillian said, her cheeks flushed. "Let's be friends first." Luca was flustered. "I do not mean that," he said. But Lillian was quick, not giving Luca a chance to refuse her. "Okay, then I will come visit you next time. See you later." Luca looked at the hand that Lillian had just held. She is definitely someone hard to shake off. A Koet physical training center. Luca stands facing a middle-aged man, Kinyuan Bao, the martial arts instructor of the Royal Guard, Ak Koet Sa. "I never thought you would actively seek me out." Luca states his purpose. "I have come to learn a few more tricks from you, master." Kinyuan Bao replies, "You have nothing more to learn about martial arts. Your skills are already outstanding. In the history of the Guard, very few students have reached your level." Luca thinks to himself, "So there are still people better than me." He says being at the top of the students is not enough. Kenyuan says, "There is no need to be so overly ambitious." Kenyuan is a martial arts instructor who specializes in training powerful students, but he is not as intimidating as other instructors. Unlike other royal guards, he uses a weak mechanical body. Normally, in terms of physical strength, my new arm should be 10 times stronger than that body. The only weakness is that I am not yet a complete machine, so the real part of my body is still too vulnerable. If I can't even beat an opponent like you, how can I face stronger foes like Korra's paladin? Luca said, I should ask for your help. Luca did not say it outright, but he knew and guessed that he must have pleaded. Come on, let us go. Luca immediately lunged forward with a body slam. He knew and deflected Luca's punch and asked, do you want to test your new arm? Even though he is retired from the royal guard. I did not think these attacks would work anyway. Luca kept attacking continuously, while Kenyuin always kept his guard up. However, if I use my Dawn while closing the distance, and then use my superior physical strength to end the fight, Luca grabbed Kenyuin's sleeve. He twisted the fabric to lock Kenyuin and his arm for a moment. At the same time, he took this opportunity to unleash a powerful strike. Got him. Seeing the student's fist getting closer, he knew and remained stone-faced. His robotic eyes lit up, and then he made a move Luca could not keep up with, sending him flying. Luca was extremely confused. Why am I floating in the air like this? Upon landing, Luca braced himself with his hands. I do not know what just happened, but that is not enough to take me down. Kenyuin used his hand to block that flip kick. He grabbed Luca's leg and flipped him over, causing Luca to be upside down in the air once again, ending with him landing on his back, sliding for a distance. Luca looked bewildered. What was that? Kenyuin approached. Not only did you underestimate your opponent, but you also allowed yourself to be distracted during the fight. What is the rush, Luca? Looking down at his student, Kenyuin asked, what is the rush, Luca? Luca was stunned, wondering what just happened. Judging by the trajectory of my first attack, I should have punched Kenyuin in the jaw. But the moment he touched my arm, Luca felt like something was being distorted. My body completely lost control, or rather, the energy I put into that punch was reversed and pierced my body. What did you do? After all, Kenyuin replied, it is my own self-defense technique. Luca listened, his spirit turning back. Kenyuin, with blood streaming from one eye and an uncontrollably shaking hand, said, do you want to learn something that'll leave you like this? Every shortcut has its price. Then the two sat down to talk. Luca, what did you feel and learn from that last fight? Luca described, it felt like I was bewitched. Like, I cannot control my body anymore. That is, I sit vich ti-ma, or I sit tactics. Luca immediately questioned, wait, is not that a self-defense technique used by street thugs, but what you just used was so powerful it could be adopted by the military as a formal tactic. Actually, the higher-ups considered it, but it has 3 major drawbacks. Luca said like it is hard to learn. He knew and praised. You are smart, Luca. What else? He knew and asked, letting Luca deduce. I am guessing the neurological disorder is a side effect. Exactly. And I bet you can't guess the third problem. Despite the weakness of it devastating the body from within, Luca insisted, if it makes me stronger, I am willing to take the risk. Kenyuin stood up. It is not up to you to decide. Do you know how much people have invested in you? But Luca was about to persuade him. Then Kenyuin calmly cut him off. Answer me this. If you learn AZIT tactics, you are sure to develop a mental disorder later. Can you be sure you will stop when that happens? Luca knew himself and knew his opponent. If I lied, he would see right through me. I can't swear, but I will try. This ambiguous answer satisfied Kenyuin. I like that honesty. Kenyuin patted Luca on the shoulder, then he suddenly swept his leg. Luca's object. He threw a person behind him and left satisfied, not forgetting to say, from now on, whenever you are with me, you must always be ready to fight, no matter the circumstances. Luca scratched his head. That is what he means. He knew and said deeply, get up. I like to teach quickly. Ale could not help but ask, Luca, have you been sleeping well lately? Luca's face darkened. His eyes with dark circles looked at Ale. Luca answered casually, I am just busy. It's been a month since I started my daily training sessions with Kenyuin. If you can't imitate it, then it is useless, no matter how I explain it. He does not teach anything specific. He wants me to understand it myself. From what I have gathered, tactics are completely different from anything I have ever learned. If previous combat techniques focused on mastering individual moves, IZIT is about pushing them beyond their limits. In other words, it is an advanced combat system that uses the very weapons I already have in hand to instantly build the most effective strategy in the moment. It is basically a way of using the brain. Luca also asked his friend, Louis, how the mission was going. Louis said, nothing special, just dealing with a malfunctioning android. Lately, my missions have all been trivial like that, easy as pie. Luca guessed, the superiors must be being careful because of the Korra incident. That is probably why we have not seen the captain. Ali said, no, that is not it. I heard about this at home. Luca casually added, if the captain's involved, then it must be something big like a rebellion. But Ali confirmed, that is right. I do not know the details, but there is a group plotting a revolt. Luca clicked his tongue, annoyed, grumbling in the middle of a cold war with Korra. Someone's planning a revolt that is ridiculous. Ali makes a point. If we keep treating things like this as a joke, the empire will be ruined. Luca gets agitated and silences Aili, raising his fist as if to punch his friend to stop him from talking nonsense. I warned you, Aili. I can overlook you being a rebel within the empire, but if you become a true enemy, even I can't ignore it. Aili, his face pale, says, I also passed the aptitude test to join the royal guard like you, Luca. I am just saying what is necessary for the empire. Calm down, Ali advises. Luca finally releases his friend, reminding him, do not say things that are easily misunderstood. I do not want to see your name on it. Ali finishes, I know. I won't say those things in front of others. Relax a little, Luca. I will treat you to something delicious this weekend. Okay, I already have plans, and do not talk to me anymore. It is annoying. A date, I asked teasingly. Luca, losing patience. Snap, get lost. The lower district of Akawetsa, he knew and remarked, it has been a while since you have been back. Has not it? A familiar place for both of us, since we both come from the lower class. Luca shared. The day I became a Royal Guard cadet, I swore I would never come back here. I did not want to breathe the same air as these miserable people. He knew, and simply commented, you really are the type who always strives for success. Even Luca was surprised. When the teacher told me to set aside time this weekend, I did not think I would end up here. Look at those two bums arguing on the street. It is depressing. The air in the lower district stings your eyes. Geothermal energy from the bedrock beneath the capital is used to power the entire city, but the heat and pollutants that are not filtered out by the factories are dumped straight here. I breathed this foul air throughout my childhood. It made me feel like if I stayed here, I would be a failure my whole life. So I had to escape at all costs. Damn this place. The more Lucas sensed this atmosphere again, the more he hated where he came from. Kinuin brought him back to the main point. This way, Luca. The black market? Kinuin asked. First time here. Luca replied. Yeah, when we were kids. It was not uncommon for curious kids to wander into the black market and disappear. Luca judges by his style. Kinuin knows this area well. I can't believe someone with decades of experience as a royal guard knows these streets better than I do, and he made me equip myself with weak gear for this trip. What is he planning to do? Kinuin suddenly said, get ready to go, Luca. Although Luca was not sure, he still steadily walked alongside Kinuin. Two guys guarding the door stopped Kinuin halt. The entrance for the audience is on the main street. Kinuin immediately said, I am here to see your manager. The guard asked, do you know Alip? Kinuin innocently replied, not really. I just want to meet him. The guard felt Kinu and was mocking him, pulled out his gun, and shouted, look at this bastard. Kinuin just smiled. Luca understood and moved to subdue the gunman. Luca used his legs to trap the guy's neck, making it hard for him to breathe. The other guy tried to draw his gun to support his teammate, but a shot near his feet warned him off. While subduing the guard, Luca used his gun to point at the other guy, telling him to stay put. The guy had no choice but to raise his hands and surrender. Kinuin smiled friendly and said, now, do you understand the situation? I advise you to call that guy. Let out here immediately. He threw down two guns. Luca asked curiously, if I had been slow, what were you going to do? Kinuin replied, I would have figured something else out when the time came. Luca continued, anyway, what is this place? Kinuin, he said, is the hottest place in the whole empire. He smiled at Luca and mentioned the arena in a room guarded by two thugs. Kinuin and the other man sat facing Alip talking. Alip seemed to be the promoter of this low-class arena. Kinuin got straight to the point. I want this kid in the ring. I want to ask for a fee and it does not matter. If he dies, Luca silently deduced. So that is why he made me equip the weak-type limbs today. Alip finished his cigarette. Then he started pulling the trigger towards Kinuin. Luca reached out and caught the dart before it hit Kinuin. Seeing movement on the other side, Alip's two henchmen pointed their guns at Kinuin. Alip said mockingly, do not get any illusions. We did not bring you here to listen to your ridiculous offers. It is just easier to dispose of bodies in here. Luca figured he was just bluffing. If he did not want to negotiate, he would have shot already. There are three guys in front pointing guns at us, and two armed thugs outside the door. First, Luca, you're going to kick the table to block the view of those three. While those three are confused, Luca will reach out and grab Alip. If the ringleader is caught, the two underlings will hesitate, unsure whether to shoot. Taking advantage of their hesitation, Luca will snatch Alip's gun, then he will point the gun at the two underlings. He will use only two accurate shots, taking their lives. The two guards outside will hear the gunshots and run in to see. At that moment, Luca will have already jumped up high. Fire two more shots. Wipe out all the lackeys. Simulation ended. Kinuin asks, where is the predecessor to this position? Alip says, do you know the Ra? He is dead. For fixing the fight results. Kinuin understands. So you killed Torre to take over the arena? Must be making a lot of money in this kind of industry. Tor was my friend, but I won't dwell on it. Torre also killed his predecessor to get to that position. That is the law of the streets. Alip cocks his gun, threatening. Who are you? How much do you know? Kinuan calmly reveals a murderous aura to show the other party who is in charge here. Calm down, Alip, unless you want to follow into Ra's footsteps. Alep is terrified by this. Knowing he can't do anything to him, Alip sluggishly returns to his place. Damn it. Fine. All I have to do is throw that kid in the ring. Alip, slightly lowering his glasses, analyzes Luca with his machine eyes. His limbs are not designed for combat and his torso is still human flesh. He will explode in the first second of the fight. Negotiates. I can let him fight. But what do I get? Kinuan says, I know where to R, a hit is safe. You probably have to Raz eyes already, right? Alep is a little tense. How do you know these things? I am starting to wonder who you really are. Kinuan smiles faintly and says, I am just a trivial ghost from the past. Alep offers, if you want to watch the fight, I will give you a VIP seat, good liquor, and beautiful women. Kinuan says, liquor is enough, and do not hold back on the kid. Throw him in against one of your strongest fighters. Luca observes his master's methods and concludes, I still have a lot to learn from Kinuan. He overwhelms his enemies and controls the situation without using force. He has skills that I lack. Arena locker room. Kill the cameras. Kinuan, you have 2 hours. Warm up. Remember this, it is the most important part of the I-sit technique. A principle, adapt to whatever you are given. Luca replies, I was taught that adapting equals failure. Kinuan says, water never fails. It only changes shape. You have potential. I have had my eye on you since you fired those shots without a ballistic prediction system. I was quite surprised when you came to me asking to be taught. You have talent, yet you come to me as if you were being guided by something greater. Luca questions why the sudden praise. Kinuan grabs Luca's shoulder is not obvious, because this moment might be your last. Luca just gave a forced smile. The arena lights blaze on. We have a new fighter who dares to challenge Iron Fist Gabio in his first match. Will this kid make it home alive? Welcome our fresh-faced rookie. Good boy, Luca muttered. What creepy name. The audience thinks this fight will be boring because Luca is so green. Who is this punk? This guy's here die. He will be torn to shreds on the floor. This is gonna be great. I am so excited. Humanity's dark desires are satisfied by seeing others' blood and flesh. Some kind of excitement is driving me forward. They all can't wait to see my arms and legs broken and my face smashed. I do not care. Actually, the better. I can finally feel that I am back home. Long time no see, you losers. A little flashback to Luca's childhood. Since I was little, I never knew what it felt like to be full. Even though the Empire's people came to distribute food to the orphanage twice a month, the director hid half of it to sell in the slums. So we orphans gradually thought that being hungry was normal. But no matter how hungry I was, I did not neglect my training. I took every opportunity to read dusty books that no one looked at and practiced endurance with rusty weights. Because Luca was aware of training his body and knowledge, he was considered a weirdo among the orphans. Hey Luca, are you stupid? What is the point of wasting your energy? It will only make you hungrier. Luca does not care about being isolated. He says casually, so what? If I am hungry, I will just take more by force. The law of the jungle. I understand how this world works. The strong eat their fill. The weak go hungry. That is all. The other kids can't beat Luca, so they just yell insults acting all high and mighty. You're just a second-rate orphan like us. If you were so great, you would be in a top-tier orphanage. You're just scum, you know, after venting their frustrations. All these kids can do is run away. That is why Luca looks down even more on these people who do not try. I do not care about what those losers say. At 12 years old, I passed the second round of the selection process. My name was on the list of Imperial Guard candidates, and by 15, I officially became a student. Do you understand? Do not even dream of comparing yourselves to me. I hope we never meet again, you failures. I buried the memories of this place when I was a student. I never thought I would be back. Now Luca returns to this low-class place, just to find a path to a higher peak. Before Luca stands the arena's toughest opponent, the wildly cheered-on Ga by Io. What the hell? Why do I have to fight some kid? Let must be on some heavy stuff. Whatever, as long as I get paid. Luca analyzes his opponent, Ga by Io, the Iron Fist. His body is a mismatched collection from different manufacturers, completely unbalanced. His spine is curved from supporting all that heavy metal. The connection points between machine and flesh are always swollen. He probably can't sleep without painkillers, but he is strong. Luca acknowledges Gabio. His body is designed to kill, nothing more, nothing less. Gabio looked at Luca and asked, you look good. Want to be my servant? Luca laughed and replied, actually, no. Come and think of it. You will need someone to take care of you after today's fight, because I am about to put you in the hospital. Gabio got even more excited when he heard that. Gabio declared, I am going to beat you so bad, you will wish you were my servant. Alip, the commentator said, this world is cruel. The weak die, the strong live, and this fight will show you that clearly. Will this kid be crushed or will he rise up and make something happen? Let the slaughter begin. The bell rings to start the fight. Gabio strikes first. He brings down a thunderous blow on Luca. Luca nimbly dodges it and kicks Gabio in the face. Gabio says, "That just stings, kid." His body is a killing machine, while my limbs are not designed for fighting. In other words, if I take one hit, I am dead. If I use my everyday legs, that kick would have smashed his head like a rotten melon. Luca jumps back to create a safe distance. This arena is too small for me to keep dodging. Each of his blows could kill a man, while mine are practically useless. Even the audience is not on my side, as evidenced by them yelling, "Hey kid, playing hide and seek, just die already so we can see another fight." Crush his skull. Gabio, this is what I have to face. What did Kenyuin bring me here for? Anyway, Luca remembers Kenyuin's advice. Adapt to the situation. Wishing for what you do not have won't solve anything. No matter how much you pray, a gun is not going to fall from the sky. You have to stand up with what you have, even if it is the worst. Kenyuin may have taken my limbs, but I still have my mechanical eye. That means you do not want me to rely on a machine body to win against GA by EO. Suitable, Luca muttered to himself, ASIT. Technique is about maximizing efficiency from what you have. Ga by EO's fist is like a giant iron cannonball. The shoulder tackle is the fuse. Eye direction is the barrel. Arm length is the range. Compared to a gun, it takes longer to prepare, has a shorter range, but the trajectory is more predictable. Kenyuin in the stands watched Luca's breakthrough. He smirked contentedly, thinking genius. Luca with his own strength, he's almost reached Ace's level. Let your talent shine. Gabio is getting weaker the more he fights. The biased audience is yelling, "Gabio, are you putting on a show in front of Rookie? What are you waiting for? Kill him, you idiot." Luca is learning his opponent's fighting style as he fights. I am more focused than ever, to the point where I can predict Gabio's attacks. Can I do it now? Learning from Kenyuin, Luca touches his opponent's arm with one hand and sweeps Gabio's knee joint with one leg, executing the move. Ga by EO is confused, so he get a knee to the face, sending GA by EO's massive body crashing to the floor. Luca laughs with delight. That is refreshing. Is this how you felt when you did the same to me? Kenyuin, GA by EO veins bulging growls. I did not know what kind of magic that is, but I told you, Ga by EO is in charge. Weak attacks like that won't work on me. Ga by EO's punch is more explosive than before. Luca, more excited than ever, dodges just enough to get a cut across his cheek. The misstab does not inflict any damage on his opponent. Gabio realizes Luca has his chin in his grasp, but he underestimates his opponent. Luca knows this and says, "You think I can't do anything with this body, right? But since my robotic limbs are weak, I just need to compensate with something else." He locks Gabio's head while kicking his whole body upside down. Using momentum, Luca twists Gabio's neck until his neck cracks, giving Gabio a complimentary ass-to-face technique in the air. "Yeah, just sit there and wait for me to fall, because I will keep getting up until I can't hear you anymore." Luca turns his back on his defeated opponent. If this were a real battlefield with a multitude of variables to consider, I probably would not be able to maintain this level of focus. But because this is a controlled environment, I can focus to the point where I can almost see the future. Luca walks away not too fast, not too slow. I have to admit, he knew and is truly an excellent teacher. He knew and waits and says, "Well done, kid. Congratulations on officially joining us at Vict I Ma." Luca says what he just learned. So adhering to a pattern does not mean failure. Kenyuin said, "Here, take this." Luca initially thought a credit card. "Are you giving me a fight bonus?" Kenyuin laughed and said, "Do not be silly. It is for Gabio's medical bills. Take it to him. We should show a little kindness. Seem a little sincere." Luca coldly said, "I am trying to become a warrior, a soldier, not a philanthropist." He knew and gently patted Luca's head saying, "Looks like you're still quite naive in social relationships. Luca, the kindness I am talking about is not an act of charity, is an investment. If you gradually invest in relationships like this, there will be times when it comes in handy. Today, I just reaped the profit from my investment in Torah. Do not forget that the ability to create a favorable environment is also one of the qualities of a skilled soldier." From here, Luca realized I was completely wrong about Kenyuin. I thought he was teaching me because he recognized my talent, and because he felt empathy since we came from similar backgrounds. He was just investing in me, waiting for the day to reap the benefits. And he did it in a way I could not refuse. A person in a white coat examines a robotic spine on a monitor. This is Dr. diagnosing Gabio. It seems the bandwidth of this device is too limited to be compatible with your cybernetic system. Your current robotic system is too powerful, which could lead to malfunctions or paralysis. I personally recommend the Geonic Hybrid Linear model. Gabio shouts, "But that is the latest model. Where am I going to get the money to buy that? Are you trying to rip me off? Others use cheaper models, and they are fine." The doctor calmly points out, "Yes, but they have not undergone as extensive body modifications as you have, sir. Older models are fine as long as they are compatible. Gabio tries to find another option, at least something for combat. The doctor says bluntly, I am afraid not. This place does not even make enough to buy back old life support systems. Gabio angrily exclaims, what do you people think these robots are worth anyway? Luca casually walks in and says, I came to see you, Gabio. Glad you're still doing well. Gabio, seeing Luca's face, looks like he is about to explode. You bastard. I will kill you. You hear me? I am gonna kill you. Luca gets closer, reminding Gabriello, I warned you before the match that I would send you to the hospital. Oh, he slips up suddenly, realizing he let his emotions get the better of him, remembering Keena's teaching. Do not forget that the ability to create a favorable environment is also one of the qualities of a talented soldier. Gabriello is seething, not knowing who to blame or take it out on. Luca approaches a doctor and says, you just mentioned 2 borderlines, right? He holds out the money Keanu gave him, asking, is this enough to pay? The doctor replies, yes, this amount is enough, but Gabriello barks, hey kid, what the hell are you doing? Luca simply replies, can't you see? I am paying for your hospital bill. Gabriello asks, but what for? Luca casually says, just, I felt like it. Gabriello says sarcastically, are you really as good as your nickname? Good kid. Then Gabriello mutters, the compassion of the victor. Here, Gabriel politely asks his opponent his name. What is your name, kid? Luca tells him his name. Gabriel proactively offers, if you need anything later, look for me. You can be sure that I will repay this debt, Luca. This feeling is not so bad. Luca secretly feels a little warmth as Koet saw Physical Training Center, a rematch training session between Ailui and Luca. Luca has a composure similar to Ken Iwan applying ISIT technique. Ailey flipped him in the air, and before the loser knew what was happening, he finished him off with a punch. After that, Ailey held his waist in pain. Ailey asked, did you learn that tactic from Coach Keanu? And Luca replied, yes. Ailey had the same doubts as Luca at first, but it's not that the kind of fighting that street thugs do, like using broken glass or throwing sand in the opponent's eyes. Lucas said honestly, I can hardly believe it either, but he calls it us-it. Ailey lamented, I can't imagine beating you in hand-to-hand combat anymore. Lucas seemed to encourage his friend a little, but you are still the only student who can compete with me. He thought to himself, no doubt the experience in the arena just now has fundamentally shaken my fighting style. It feels like everything I have learned so far has been refined into just one drop of essence. Ali thought to himself, Luca looks so happy today. Feeling it was the right time, Ali spoke up, Luca, if you have time, could you give me a hand? Luca readily agreed. Visiting room, training ground, Royal Lecoats Academy. Luca looked a little impatient. Ali avoided his friend's gaze. Lillian sat staring straight at Luca. Hearing Luca call his name with a hint of anger, Ailey could only apologize. Sorry. Luca, my family has a long-standing relationship with the RAMOT family, so it is hard to refuse. Lillian wondered, I've sent so many requests to see you, but why do you keep avoiding me? Luca coldly replied, because I am not interested. I hope you would understand my silence was an answer. Easy, Luca. Can't you be a little gentler? Luca clenched his fist, his voice low. Shut up, Ailey. Just getting me here is enough to annoy me. Lillian's eyebrows furrowed slightly. She asked, what do you hate about me? Luca replied, I do not have time for romance. Unlike you, an orphan like me can't afford to make a single mistake. Lillian reasoned, should not you be getting closer to me then? Luca decided to make himself clear this time. You clearly do not understand what I am saying. Lillian Ramos, relying on a noble like you to find a place for myself would only make me dependent on your every whim. I will climb up with my own strength. Ailey, on one side, felt the atmosphere was indescribable. When Lillian pointed out Luca was close to Ailey, a noble, Luca could not have been more blunt. I am not close to Ailey because he is from the Catacalonage. I am close to him because he is my friend, a comrade I can entrust my life to. Lillian asked, are not you going to give me any chance at all? Luca takes a contemplative sip of his coffee. My mind has not changed. I am sorry, but no. So do not visit me anymore. Luca leaves without hesitation and without looking back even once. Ale then chases after him, calling Luca, you do not have to be so cold. Luca says, it is the only way to make her give up. Ale can't find fault, only reluctantly says, still, why are you so adamant about refusing? Luca says what makes him uncomfortable, because I do not understand why she is so determined to cling to me. Approaching someone who has nothing just because her deceased brother used to praise me. She definitely has another motive. Ale tries to persuade Luca, you mean, you were scared because you do not understand her, but if you took some time to get to know her, Lucas revealed, you like her, do not you? I lie. Ali says, a little flustered, why do you say that? Lucas sighs, pointing out the way you look at her and how you've been fidgeting this whole time. It is all obvious. I am also a little surprised by this side effect. Ever since studying asset management, I have been extremely sensitive to these things. Anyway, that is none of my business. If you like her, then do not hesitate, just go for it. Ally hesitates, confused, unconsciously turns his head towards the room where Lillian is. On the table, there are 3 glasses of drinks. Only Lucas is empty. I can't Luca. Not in a place like this artificial lava pit. 2 individuals braving the smoke and heat are present here. Today will be a meditation to practice, keeping our minds still in all circumstances. Can you tell me what you would do? If a fight broke out in that gangster's office, he knew and replied, "Oh, right. I promised to tell you if you won, did not I? The gangsters inside and outside the office are armed and ready to fight. I can't think of a safe way to escape that situation without weapons. I'm not sure what I would do." He knew and gave Luca an unexpected answer. "If there's a fight, I plan to duck and hide." Luca frowned, saying, "But Alip and the other gangsters all have guns. If your first action is to hide, would not you be riddled with bullets before you could even do anything?" Kinuan said, "I thought you would take that opportunity to help me. Defeat Alip and his gang even if he got shot." Lucas supposed, "But what if I am not there at that time? Or what if I hide, or I run away?" Kinuan pointed out, "Were not you planning to take Alip hostage and steal his gun? You're trained to always take the initiative to attack. Surely, as soon as you walked in, you simulated in your head how to take them down. But if you do that, both you and Alip will die. In the lower districts, changing leaders is common. Taking the leader hostage will only give his subordinates a reason to kill him. But, of course, if you were targeted by them at that time, then perhaps I would have wiped out the entire gang on the spot and carried you injured, retreating through the secret exit." Luca is so cautious. Not only can he predict my actions, he even knows the secret exit with my current level. I can't even imagine what superhuman level he is at. ACS in Latin means sharp, like sharp eyes. ACS Visti MA is a strategy that uses all brain resources to enhance perception and observation. Do not forget that. I see. So the abnormalities in your brain activity are side effects of using your brain beyond its limits. Suddenly, Luca realized something, but that means you can't use the AC strategy if you're operating the Legion, Kenu, and Kin. You really are extraordinary. I thought it would take you at least 2 more months to realize that. Once I join the Royal Guard, I will also be equipped with a Legion. No one can permanently operate the Empire's most advanced full-body powered armor, the Legion. Due to the extremely high bandwidth requirements, the user must mobilize their entire brain power, even needing an auxiliary processor to operate the armor. In other words, if you are operating Legion, your brain won't have the resources to use ACIT. Ken Yu and knew that from the start and did not say anything. "Tell me," Lucas said through gritted teeth, "if I knew I could not use it at the same time as Lee Giant, I would not have bothered learning it. It's all my fault for being so stupid." He knew and understood Lucas' attitude. So that is it. Business is business. Lucas still thanked him for the time they spent together. He knew and suggested, "If you ever change your mind, please come find me." Luca bitterly cursed to himself. Damn it, at the captain's office. Has it already been 3 months? The Imperial Guard Captain, Akatisa Halak, Kutoria said, "I've been so busy that I have not had time to check on the students' progress." Luca thought to himself, Alida is right about the uprising. While Halat asked, "What have you been doing lately, Luca?" Luca replied, "I have not been assigned any missions for a while. So I've just been doing personal training." Halat said, "You won't have to do many more field missions. You are capable enough to join the military now. Oh, and I heard you've been in frequent contact with Instructor Kenuan." Luca tensed up thinking, so that is why he called me here. The higher-ups must know everything, even about me going to the black market in the lower district, and even about me participating in the arena. Halat asked, "Is he helping you learn Isit Vichti Ima?" Luca replied sternly, "Not anymore, sir." Halat said, "I am guessing, but you probably stopped on your own accord." Luca involuntarily asked, "How did you know?" Even as he asked, Luca spontaneously explained, "Because Isit tactics can't be used at the same time as Lead Giant. I thought it was pointless to learn it if I was going to join the present guard." Hola. Continue to guess. You realize that yourself. Kenuan will personally eliminate students who are not capable enough, and those who are capable enough will soon realize that learning Isit is not worthwhile. That is why besides Kenuan, no one has been able to fully master a Sitvich Ti Ma. Then Halat suddenly asked out of the blue, "Do you want to continue learning? Specifically, I want you to maintain a close relationship with Kenuan, so you should continue your studies. That is an order." Does the captain suspect Kenuan? Why spy on a veteran? Luca thought to himself, does the captain suspect Kenuan? Why spy on a veteran? I can't question it. More inside information could be life-threatening. Understood. I will continue studying Isit Vichti Ma. So Luca chose the standard demeanor of a soldier, accepting orders and obeying. Understood. I will continue studying Isit Vichti Ma. Halat Nubanku said in a tone that was either a warning or a sign of respect. Luca, you should know that I always have my eye on you. It is people like you who can succeed in this world. Luca went to see Ki Nu and in the lower district again. he said. I did not think you would be back so soon. Anyway, I did say that if you change your mind, you should come find me so I won't ask any more questions. Luca was surprised everything went so smoothly. I thought the professor would not take me back, but it was so easy. Luca was curious. Why did you come to the lower district today? He knew and asked, do kids still like these things? Luca replied, yes sir. When I was little, I used to drool over these toys. He knew and addressed the shop owner. The owner did not even look up and said, if you're looking for something, find it yourself. I won't help. He knew and said, I will take all the toys here. Do you deliver? The owner was shocked and exclaimed, all of them. Luca was stunned, wondering why toys. Later that afternoon, seeing the lower district orphanage No. 47, Luca could not help but say, is not this an orphanage? He knew and gave Luca the task, take these boxes inside the gate. Hearing someone call his name, Luca looked over. Gabio, you call me all the way out here just for this. Do I look like your errand boy? So Luca took the job and called Gabio to do it. Luca said shamelessly, did not you say to call you if I needed anything? I could not have managed without you since they do not deliver to this area. Gabio did not seem too angry, just grumbling a bit. Seriously, I thought it would be something bigger, like a gang fight. Luca laughed. If I were actually fighting, when would I have time to call you idiot? Gabio thought Luca had a point. Luca looked at Gabio's burly, but honest and naive appearance and thought he is much more stable now, thanks to the new spine. Seems like that money was not wasted. Gabio looked at Kenu and asked curiously, but hey Luca, what is the deal with that guy? I mean, if he is so good that Alep won't mess with him, then I should know more about him, right? Luca advised. If you want to keep your head, it is best not to stick your nose in other people's business. Luca thought, this must be the orphanage where Kenyon grew up. Is he doing charity here to show off his success? The children excitedly ran out. Thank you, handsome uncle and ugly uncle. Good lord, how dare they talk like that? Luca notices two children bickering over a toy. Luca remembers his childhood and further concludes, that is how it is. The strong keep what they get. Not everyone gets a fair share, so you have to learn to take what you want, because this world does not have enough resources to make everyone happy. Kinuan calls out, Luca, let's talk for a bit. Kinuan gestures to go somewhere more private. Kinuan shares, I still visit this low-class area from time to time. The salary here probably is not much, yet the camp director looks so healthy. I suspect they're embezzling the camp's aid. Luca asks, did you grow up here? Kinuan replies, I do not even remember where I grew up. I just visit different camps whenever I get the chance. I might have even visited your camp. This feeling of normalcy made Luca think that in this place, even Keen knew, and was just a regular veteran, with a nervous system that could not handle overload, resulting in brain abnormalities. An old soldier whose glory days were long gone. Maybe that will be me in the future. Of course, only if I am lucky enough to live that long. Just as Luca was getting a little pensive and relaxed, Kianuan said, all right, spit it out. Who ordered you to come back and find me? A simple question, but it made Luca shudder. Kianuan's eyes narrowed, guessing was it Captain Halat?